Shout out to Liz. All right, for problem number 7. So on this one, everybody's got a calculator. I like to have you guys use the calculator because you get familiar with all the buttons are. We don't need a calculator to do this answer. But basically, I'm gonna start with 2. I'm gonna write it over here. And I'm gonna move it 5 spaces. This didn't come out the way I wanted it to, but that's a -5. So that means I start here and I'm going to go 1. Well, let me do it this way. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, this is what I was talking about. When we go, it's easier to remember if you have a negative power of 10, you're going to end up with a decimal. And then if you think, well, if it's a decimal, then you can figure out whether you go left or right. Right? So when I convert it to scientific notation, I move the decimal to the right, if it's a decimal. If I come from scientific notation and convert it to the decimal, then I move the decimal to the left. But if I have a negative power of 10, it's going to end up being a decimal, and you can think about it and go, oh, yeah, I got to move back to the left. Otherwise, sometimes kids get confused. Put a 0 for all the spaces as a placeholder. So I've got 4 zeros and a 2. Yep. That's right. Let's do problem number 8. That's a -6. So I'm going to write down 3, 5, 8, 2. I'm going to go 6 units from where the decimal point is. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is where my decimal point goes. Put a 0 in front and then a 0 for every space. And that's it. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there should be 5 zeros from the decimal point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. And this is a -4. Again, I'm just going to write down the 8, 3. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where my decimal goes. Put a 0 in the front. 0. And then a 0 as a placeholder for all the empty spaces. That's it. Now, we can verify these with our calculators. So if I take my calculator and I hit clear, go to second quit, then hit clear. Let me move my face. That last one was, what was it? It was 83. So it's 8.3 times 10 raised to the -4, correct? Is that right? Okay. And so this is how you could double check it. Remember when we have the decimal, I have to put the decimal in and let the calculator convert it back. So I've got 1, 2, 3 zeros. So what I'm going to do on my calculator is I'm going to say 0.123 zeros and then 83, hit enter. And I should get 8.3 times 10 to the -4. Remember that the E stands for 10 to the whatever number follows the E. Okay? So that's how you do that on your calculator. Let's just keep cranking these out. I'm going to write down my 297 over here. How many spaces do I move the decimal? 2. So I'm going to go 1, 2. That's where my new decimal goes, right there. Boom. Put a 0 as a placeholder. All right. Now, I graded the 2.2, and we did this with our powers, with the positive powers. So we did, our last section. Guys, count, please. There were a lot of kids that missed the problems because they were off by 1. Well, then maybe we need to have a counting test. All right. So make sure I count them. I count every one. And I think the kids that got it wrong were just kind of haphazardly, oh, yeah, I'm going to move it 7 spaces, and just went, oh, and then didn't really count the 7 spaces. So this is to the -5, yeah? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just count them. There's some shortcuts, I guess, right? Like, if you notice, we have 1 less 0 then the power, right? So if this is to the negative 5, how many zeros do I have? 4. If I go up here to the decimal space, right? If I go up here, this is to the negative 2, I have 1 0. This is to the negative 4, I have 1, 2, 3 zeros. This is to the negative 5, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. So if you can remember that, that'll help too. So this is 4 times 10 to the negative 5. How many zeros would you have? If you have 10 to the negative 5, how many zeros? 4. But let's do the math. So I start with 4. And I go 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 5, right? I got to do one more. See? So I put that there. And from here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. Because one of those spaces is used to move away from the 4, right? All right, let's do this last 2. It says problem number 13. What is the average length of a dust mite? And then it says it's 0.00001. Dust mite is a tiny, tiny little, it's not even an insect. Dust mites live in your bed. Oh, gross. But that's why you should wash your sheets all the time. Dust mites feed off of like your dead skin. Use later. So I've got 1 times 10 to the negative what? 4. 10 to the negative 4. I moved the decimal. All right, let's do one more. Oh, man. It says the mass of, wait, was there a unit? Yes, meters, right? Did I forget? All right, this one's going to be kind of weird. Watch this. I have to write the 7, 1 7. And it says negative 24. So how many spaces? 24, right? So we were going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24.
I'm surprised you can count that. Bro, that is a big number.
Are you saying that you're surprised I can count that high?
Yeah, he's a math teacher. Bro, I can even Wait, he's not a social studies. I thought it was science. Yes. Wait, isn't he a
There you go.